I was looking briefly at f4, but I thought, hold on, f4, maybe he's got queen h3 there and queen g4, and then I still thought that ending should be winning for me, all these pawns, you know, for the exchange. But then I found something which looked really good after spending about 20 minutes. But just showing you how crap my calculation is compared to Ribka. Well, okay, I'll ask you, what would you play here if I gave you 5 seconds? This was the last move of the game. Or do you want 10 seconds, starting from now? 10 seconds. Okay, I played the move bishop h6. I thought this was going to be very good. There's no rook e8 check, of course. I didn't think this rook e5 was that devastating. In fact, I think I can just play king d3, if not anything else. But let's look at concrete defensive tries. This is what I thought. Rook g8, I thought I had rook c8. But it was pointed out after that actually, well, the game had stopped here. He'd put his move into an envelope, but here this is crushing. Just bishop g7 is mating, because rook takes, rook c8 is mating. So let's look at another defensive try. Rook 5 to d7. I thought rook c5 was winning, but there's a really clinical move which the computer keeps on coming up with. So rook c5 would allow queen d6, and again, you know, it's not so amazingly clear cut. It goes into that ending where I've got lots of pawns for the exchange. But I don't want to spoil it for you, but in this initial position, by the way, where I'd given you the 10 seconds, there was actually a much stronger move, believe it or not, just bishop g5. So even though it seems to allow like rook g5 as a temporary exchange check and reprieve, white plays check, check, and it's all check, and d8's dropping off, so losing both rooks, and that's totally clear cut. I didn't see bishop g5 because how does black defend against bishop f6? There's no defense. Say rook d7, just bishop f6, just mating. So I didn't see this bishop g5, but it's handy here anyway, even after the bishop h6 inaccuracy. So say you know, he had played this rook 5 d7, just bishop g5 here, and if rook g7 then bishop f6 again to the rescue. If rook g8 then takes, and we have that same mechanism as before. So I played a slight inaccuracy at the end with bishop h6 when bishop g5 is actually totally decisive. Anyway, so he'd put his move in the envelope, and I really didn't want this going to adjudication. I just thought, you know, I showed him some variations, and you know, generously he resigned, which was, you know, a bit of a surprise actually. I thought he'd look at it with a computer, just in case there's some really weird computer resources on that rook e5, but I don't think these work. I think well, take, check, bishop e3 might be enough, because check, maybe king f1. But what is the most clinical? Okay, I'm going to turn this Ribka on here. If this wacky rook e5, the most clinical actually is not to take on e5, just to play king d3, and this is what someone on their team has said, king d3. So black just runs out of check, so he's now faced with this. So say rook e7, now just check, and look at the unfortunate rooks. So he's losing both rooks again. Funny game, chess. So he hasn't got much of a defence really either. Luckily for me, in the bishop h6 line, there doesn't seem to be much of the defence. So anyway, there were 3 things there about removing bias. I think they're related to over-the-board chess much more than, say, correspondence-style chess. The TCC, trust, catch-up, and cynicism. And I think all 3 cropped up in this game. So not trusting the opponent, even if they've spent ages on a move. Catch up is when you're trying to catch up to the details of a position, even though you've been looking at like a long-term plan like the c6 pawn. And cynicism is, for me, not being carried away with your own sacrificial lines, trying to take account of the opponents. So being a bit more cynical of your own, ideas for like gambiting pawns. So I think they were all in that game, for a little bit. Tell me what you think about this theory of trying to reduce bias. But let's have a look at this game again. So hopefully, I mean, when I looked at it last night, a lot of the moves did seem to that they were liked by Rybka, even like the King E2 idea later, like the King E2 as a small advantage. But it seems, Black did generate the B file counterplay, and he just missed playing Bishop B4. I think this would have been a real test. So he played actually, this G6, which was a bit odd. I mean, he even said like H6 maybe, with this plan to get the knight to G5, because F3 is potentially weak. In a symmetrical way, that C6 is weak. F3 is also weak. So he didn't play on that too much. So I snapped out that pawn after he'd spent ages. So there's a trust element, not trusting him. I can safely take that pawn. I'm not going to get my queen trapped. Even though Rybka, of course, finds incredible resources to actually trap the queen. But that's besides the point. So B3, King D8, Queen A4. The queen's coming back to the centre. And now, with him trying to regain material, he just loses a piece outright after Rook H1, E4. So I'm a piece up, and it should have been plain sailing, but I was too scared about this invitation soon of, after winning another pawn, not playing Queen E5, when Queen E5 is quite crushing because of this Rook takes H5 resource. So I played Rook C1, and the game went on a little bit longer. So finally, though, I am tempted to sack now on G6 after this very provocative Queen H2. So I get 3 pawns for the rook sack, and I play the inaccuracy Bishop H6 now, which is enough still to maintain the winning position. I hope you enjoyed that, and I don't know what you think about those 3 things: trust, catch up and cynicism, how they apply to your games. I think there are other things for reducing bias in over the board games, trying to distinguish between real and exploitable weaknesses. You're not being biased just because the opponent has double pawns or isolate pawns or whatever. You've got to think, is that really a weakness? That's another. There's lots of sources of bias in over the board chess, but 3 of them I think were emphasised a little bit in this game. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.